Field by field, Maizex is bringing Canadian seed to farmers across Canada. Maizex is your source for high-performance soybeans and grain, silage, and grazing corn hybrids. Visit maizex.com to find your local Maizex representative.
Sean Haney here with RealAgriculture.com and Real Ag Radio, Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. We're at the Canadian Beef Industry Conference in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and joined right now by the president of the Canadian Cattle Association, and is Nathan Phinney. Hey, Nathan, how's it going?
Great, Sean. How are you?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Great turnout here for CBIC, as it is called. Great turnout, great agenda, and I think people have had themselves a great time.
Yeah, I know. I certainly have. It's been great to come to Saskatchewan, and they've done a great job delivering this program. So kudos to Saskatchewan, it's the town and city of Saskatoon. Great turnout, lots of positivity in the air in the beef industry. There's a lot of excitement right now, and we're here to hopefully continue that success and build our momentum in our industry.
Yeah, you and I have talked about this before, but it's about time for the cattle industry.
Yeah, it's long overdue. We've missed a few cycles, and we've had some come and go very quickly. And I don't definitely want to jinx this one, but it looks like it's here to stay for some time yet. And we're finally glad to see to get our lion's share of what our hardworking producers and ranchers and farmers are due to get.
Yeah, I had my fingers crossed while you were saying that, so you didn't jinx it. We are safe in this example. Okay, so this week you had a trilateral meeting. And we're recording this on Wednesday afternoon of this week, and it was earlier this afternoon. Trilateral meeting between Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. Integrated beef value chain, indeed. There was a lot of discussion about the importance of things like trade. You chaired the meeting. What were some of your takeaways or things that stuck out to you?
Yeah, this was trilateral meeting 3 this year. Each country hosts one, and just due to timing, this was our chance to host. And happy to see the turnout from the Mexican delegation as well as the U.S. One of the big things that we're constantly in discussion right now, and we're all watching, is the U.S. election. That's going to be on top of mind until November, and see who gets put in place down there for power. And then obviously, one of the a little bit longer out topics that we're going to be discussing once we see how that turns out is the review of CUSMA in 2026.
Smart of you to invite the Mexican delegation during Canadian summer and not when crop production shows going on here in Saskatoon in January. That's you're smart that way.
Yeah, Hamero thanked that we cranked the temperature up. It was a little warmer here. He said he felt just like at home from the weather and the hospitality, he said. So.
Cervezas all around. Okay, you mentioned the CUSMA renegotiation, or the USMCA as it's known in the U.S., and Mexico actually has their own name for it as well. There's no certainty at this point in terms of renegotiation or review, but that July 1st date, 2026, it is concerning for CCA, and there's prep work that goes in. It's not just like, wait and see what happens. You're working on this now.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlike the NAFTA agreement. This isn't a total overhaul. This is a review phase. But what is a bit worrisome is by the time this lands, we will have three elections. The U.S. will have theirs. Mexico just recently had their election, and by fall of 2025, Canada is due to have their federal election. So, we'll essentially have new governments going into this. One concerning thing we're hearing south of the border is, the Republican Party and Trump were the ones that signed the agreement, but we've also heard the word tariffs being thrown out quite loosely, whether it be a 10% or 20%, but any percent is a scary number for us. And then, on the other side, the Harris campaign, the Democrats, we've heard about, basically wanting to start that over or tear that agreement up. So, we've got a lot of work to do. Our embassy is working effortlessly down there on our behalf, and we do have a good relationship with our counterparts, but it is key that we are building those relationships long before the day of the review happens.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned the embassy. Kent Backus from NCBA mentioned in that meeting that, don't worry, your embassy is doing the work. When there's an issue, we hear about it. I thought that was kind of encouraging.
Yeah, it was, and I mean it comes as even more of a compliment coming from a man like Ken Bacchus, who is a great friend and ally. And yeah, we are trading competitors, but we are all friends. And when we look at the North American live cattle market being the largest integrated cattle market in the world, trading trade is essential. So we have everything to gain by this going the way we hope it goes, smoothly transitioning, but we also have everything to lose if this goes sideways.
Good points. Okay, like I said, we're having this conversation on Wednesday afternoon. It is August 21st, August 22nd tomorrow. Thursday will be potentially a rail strike. I think for a lot of Canadians, they're refamiliarizing themselves with how many goods are hauled by rail in this country. Some of them, key essential goods, energy, forestry, all the resource types. Obviously, farm commodities are a part of that. But a lot of people probably wouldn't think about beef being reliant on rail. How concerned is CCA about the impacts of this strike?
Yeah, we're very concerned, and I think back in the last 4 years, whether it be a pandemic or lockouts or strikes or natural disaster, we have a fairly robust and resilient value chain. But the minute there is any sort of disruption, something like critical usage of rail in this country that's from coast to coast. I mean, we're the second in landmass, biggest country in the world, and we rely on rail to move our commodity products, whether it be input products or finishing products. So when we're really looking at a food security component to this, to being able to ensure that products, goods, and services are delivered, the other aspect of this is Canada. We are glad and boast that we are a net exporter of goods, but it really becomes an issue of our trading partners looking at us and saying, you have the product, but do you have the ability to deliver? Mm-hmm. And, it's concerning for trade-minded commodity groups such as, beef industry in Canada.
Yeah. Personally, I've had a couple people from the U.S. text me this week, people I've interviewed or done work with, and they're like, what are you guys doing up there? They're kind of saying it in a jokingly manner, but at the end of the day, it's not really a joke. That's exactly what some of our customers around the world are asking about us right now. We have to be a reliable supplier. It's hard to do trade. It's a competitive landscape. And this is a factor that long-term, if this continues to happen, it works against us.
Yeah, and, as important and as big a trading partner is Canada and U.S. together, we also have diversified and have other trading markets. But if we have if port strike in Vancouver or rail strikes in Canada prevent us from being able to get product out of this country, when you're dealing with a perishable product such as beef, you only have one option to go, and that's south. And I think that is starting to be a concern to the American producers and the American folks, that there's only one way to go with this. So I think, their government, our government need to get together, and we really need, we completely support the collective bargaining agreement and the importance of unions, but at the same token, we need to ensure that these essential services don't continue to hinder growth and movement of critical mass.
Nathan, it's been fantastic to get a chance to do this in person. Typically, we're doing this over Zoom or a phone call, but it's great to be face-to-face. So congratulations on a great Canadian Beef Industry Conference and some of the committee meetings that have transpired here this week, and safe travels back to the ranch in the Maritimes.
Thanks, Sean. As always, it's actually nice to be in the same time zone as each other for a change, so thank you.
Absolutely.